Chapter 26. Bike. Eric stared at the rack where he had parked his bicycle. His chain was still there, but it had been cut in half. His bike was gone. Jesus H. Christ. It was one of his father's expressions, and it entered Eric's mind of its own volition, like a seed that had been planted long ago and now suddenly sprang to flower. The father in his mind, he was always there, even when he lived 1,000 miles away. Eric looked around, hoping against hope that it was only a prank, that he'd find his bike thrown under a bush or something. No such luck. Is there a problem? Eric turned to Officer Goldsworthy, the resource officer, though all the kids referred to him as the school cop. He wore a shirt and tie, not a police uniform. Technically, he was a police officer who sometimes worked at the school. It was kind of confusing. Well, yeah, actually there is, Eric admitted. He showed Officer Goldsworthy the cut chain. Do you have any idea who might have done this? Yeah, I have a pretty good idea, Eric replied. The man watched Eric and waited. His silence came as an unspoken question. Who? Griffin Conley, most likely, Eric stated. Did anyone see him do it? Eric shook his head, defeated. I don't think so. I've seen you two together. He's your friend, isn't he? Eric looked at Officer Goldsworthy. He was an imposing figure, solidly built. Eric could imagine him on a football field, terrorizing quarterbacks. Eric answered, Used to be, maybe. I guess he had you fooled. I guess, Eric echoed. Guys like that, they can fool people. Sooner or later, though, folks tend to catch on, Officer Goldsworthy mused. The officer put out his hand. I don't think we've met. You're Eric Hayes, aren't you? I'm Bill Goldsworthy. How do you know me? Eric asked. I try to know everybody around here, the man answered. It's my job. I've heard about you, Eric admitted. I'm friends with Mary O'Malley. The cop nodded, tight-lipped. I've gotten to know Mary pretty well this year. She's a good girl. I think she's really trying to turn things around. The conversation returned to the missing bicycle. Eric needed to file a report. I'll be stuck in juvenile court all morning. Stop by my office any time after 12 tomorrow, the officer said. I can help you with the forms. In the meantime, I'll put a call into the precinct, see if anything's turned up. You think there's a chance? He shrugged. It happens, but honestly, not too often. Guys who take bikes usually strip them down, file off the serial numbers, repaint them, sell them. It's tough, but, he added, this might not be that kind of theft. What do you mean? This isn't how organized thieves, the kinds who run bike rings, usually operate, Officer Goldsworthy said. As far as I know, only one bike is missing. You told me that yours is a couple of years old, nothing special, and you already seem to have an idea of who took it. Eric noticed a group of kids filter out of the main doors. They'd probably stayed late for yearbook committee or some other activity designed to look good on their transcripts. Mostly girls, they sprawled on the main steps, nearly all of them on cell phones, waiting for their parents to pick them up. Eric knew they saw him, too, talking with the school cop. Eric decided to get out of there. Well, I've got to get going. Do you need a lift? Nah, it's not that far. I can hoof it, Eric answered, but thanks. Officer Goldsworthy nodded, folding his arms across a broad expanse of chest. Listen, Eric, he began. A word to the wise. There's been some burglaries in the community. Nothing too big, minor break-ins, things taken from parked cars, small stuff. He paused. You don't happen to know anything about that, do you? Why would I know? Eric replied. I'm the guy who just got his bicycle stolen. Take it easy, the officer said. I'm just saying that we're going to catch whoever is doing this. We always do. Keep your eyes open, okay? Let me know if you hear anything. The two looked at each other across a great silence. Eric thinking about Griffin Conley, Officer Goldsworthy watching him think. Eric pondered over Rudy's $27, his father's CD, and that dark wooden box of odd treasures up in Griffin's room. What did he say they were again? His souvenirs? The faint stirrings of an idea swirled in Eric's mind. A plan.